Wheel to Win Gaming. New intro soon.
It's a great day here at Will to Win's YouTube channel. I am a host, the Keck Filet, and today I have William Craddock, the usual person who's on this channel. He's in every single video. He has to be in every single video, or else it isn't his channel. But how are you doing today, Will?
I'm doing good.
Good. I am glad to hear that. And today we have a couple things we want to talk about, specifically about some ban list ideas or theories. Because if you guys didn't know, Bandai said that they are looking at doing a ban list shortly. I heard it's going to be during Worlds. They're going to actually announce an official ban list. There's a lot of other translation things that people are still questioning. But what have you heard so far about it? Have you heard any rumors?
I mean, most of the rumors are like there will be a ban list, and I don't think it's going to be insignificant. It might be more impactful than like the Whitebeard ban, like the actual leader. Like I think they're gonna not do the small bans anymore because when they banned, like the New Gate 9-drop, it just didn't do anything. Like they restricted it and it just did nothing. So I think they're actually gonna go pretty hard on this ban. Like we might see 3 or 4 cards banned and then maybe another 1 or 2 restricted.
Yeah. And okay, so we think a lot of those thoughts where things might get banned, things might get restricted. Last time it wasn't done very well. The thing is, there's never been a worldwide ban. There has been a lot of just English bans, right? I don't know who has control over that.
But the thing is, I do believe that they are going to be trying to do for One Piece what they think they announced for Digimon was the worldwide release. So I think we will have a unified ban list going forward because their whole end goal is going to be a worldwide release for One Piece. So all the sets come out at the same time in English and Japanese.
Yeah, they haven't announced that yet, but for One Piece specifically, they did for Digimon, but that's the goal.
But this is just their goal. Yeah, like it's pretty clearly their goal.
A far reach, but the ban list, however, right now, we're just going to go over some ideas. I guess I do want to ask, I always like to ask in all of our videos, why? Why should we even have a ban list? What's even the purpose of doing this? Right? Why do they want to do that?
I mean, just because I think, for one, One Piece is a non-rotating card game. For some reason, this is just something I've had with Bandai players in general. They hate the idea of rotation. Like I've never met someone who plays exclusively Bandai games, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I wish things would rotate every 4 or 5 sets." And I think because of that, ban list is their way of just like hard rotating a deck out of the format that's just shouldn't be there. Looking at you, Sakazuki, because while it hasn't been like the super all-star that was in Japan here, it's been, a huge representation of the format, and it just gets so much better in the next set. So that's just not going to slow down.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of these cards are made, it feels like there wasn't even a thought of how strongly used they can be used in certain combinations, right? And obviously,
when we start talking about this card, like this card is obscene. Like when you're ready to talk about the card on the screen, I'm ready.
Let's talk about that. A-Drop Moria, you said that this card might be banned, restricted. What's your thoughts?
I think this is the card that should just straight up get banned. Like that's my thought. It might get restricted, but to me, if you restrict it, it's an auto include, and whoever draws it is gonna win. So I think it straight up get banned. This card is insanity. Like the fact it costs 8 for 9, sure. But what does it do? It gets back a Kuzan and brand new. So now you're looking at, 14 Dawn worth of characters for 8, and you draw 2 cards. Because you draw off Kuzan, and then you get like a 2K off brand new. Like this card is just, for what it costs, is just too absurd. Like this could cost 10 and it'd still be good. And whenever I'm thinking of like, balancing cards in this game, if I say, well, if it costs 2 more, it'd still be good, then it's nuts, right? Like it's just so good.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in a deck like Black that already gets a lot of advantage. This is just too much advantage as far as even hand goes, right?
Right. This is what like Kaido wish it could do. Like, because Kaido, you draw raw cards, but it's like like you don't know what you're getting.
Mhm.
With Gecko, you can just like put in a
Yeah.
Borsalino and put in a brand new, and then you put in 2 bodies and drew a card.
Do you
Like,
think this
it's just
card should be banned or just restricted to a certain like only Gecko Moria?
it should be. I don't think so. I don't think they would ever do that. I don't think they're gonna like specifically leader lock a card. If they did, I think it would be far more balanced because this card's like obscene in Sokka. And although it is really good in Gecko, Gecko is just not. While Gecko is very strong, it's just not quite the level of Sokka. So I would see that as a good fix, doing the leader restrict. But I don't think they're going to do that with cards. Like I just don't feel they are going to do that.
Yeah, it
'Cause
would
it's
be a
so
good
much work
idea,
to,
but
like,
we don't think they will. So,
Right, like it'd just be too much, right? Because you're gonna have
Mhm.
people show up in tournaments with this in their
Yeah.
Sokka deck, and they're gonna be like, "Why can't I play it?" Well, because it has this invisible text that says Thrillbark Pirates only, right? Like it's just really hard for
Yeah.
the players.
Yeah. I think you're right too. So maybe making it like a or a one of or a zero of banned out of the gate is
This is top of the list
warranted.
of cards that's gonna get banned or restricted, like
Mhm.
almost assuredly, because the card is just absurd.
Yeah. Got it. Okay, I think that's a good idea. Let's go to the next one we had kind of in mind is everyone's thinking about this card, Rebecca. This card's always been a bit of a menace, especially in Sakazuki. It just kind of makes the deck actually really strong, in my opinion, right?
I mean, it's Baby Gecko, right? Like it's just Baby Gecko.
Yeah. There has been deck lists that have been winning in Japan that haven't ran this in both Gecko and sometimes Sakazuki, but it's really rare, right? It's kind of rare when you see that happen. So I do want to say that people have one without this, but to be honest, this card's cracked. So
like the thing about Rebecca is like if they just ban Rebecca, that doesn't matter if you still have Gecko. Like
Mhm.
you can just run a deck without Rebecca if you still have Gecko.
Mhm.
Rebecca is this card that probably should have been leader locked. This should probably be,
Dressrosa
a Dressrosa
only.
card.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's just this is my prime pick for a card to get restricted. I think this is like the perfect card to restrict is Rebecca.
Mhm. With restricting this
'Cause it
too, I mean that's good. Yeah, restricted to Dressrosa, you're saying?
no, restricting it to 1.
Okay.
Like they did like what they did with 9-drop Newgate. Like again, like yes, like ultimately it probably should have been leader locked.
Mhm.
Because again, is you just get a blocker and then you get another character, so you get 7 Dawn for 4 in an additional card, right?
Mhm.
Like it's just the return is so good. Like we've seen this in other games. This is very common. Like things that manipulate the graveyard for free cards
Yeah.
is generally powerful.
It's a really funny thing. This card has some of the most text out of One Piece, and it's really funny. One Piece doesn't have a lot of text at all. This has some of the most text in One Piece, and it ends up being like one of the strongest cards in the game. So
Yeah.
correlation.
Turns out if it does more for its cost, it's busted, right?
Yeah,
Like
exactly. What's the value of this card? You play down a 4-drop, you get a blocker, which is normal. That's probably good enough already. Then you're gonna also draw a card and play a card. So it's like it's like an 8 Dawn. It's like a 7 Dawn change, right? For 4.
honestly,
So,
a fix for this card to me, just make it like a little more balanced, would have been you can only play the card you get back. But the fact you can get something else back and
yeah.
then play a card from your hand is just like okay.
Yeah, it's a little extra. Makes it a little too more value-y, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, because I can
Like
just pick
get
up
back
the 2K.
Lucci, play my Hina. And it's just like,
Mhm.
all right, well.
Yeah, and it works too well with cards that trash from their hand, right? I guess it wouldn't be so bad with Lucci if you're playing Rob Lucci, but that deck needs help anyway. So, okay. With that, actually, the next card you're thinking about is Lucci. Lucci was another thought, and essentially, you were thinking about playing just because this kind of restricts a lot of decks from even being played, right? People don't even want to play decks that have small cards because this exists. So you can't even
Right.
play.
It restricts a lot of cards.
Yeah, you're
Like,
gatekeeping Law, you're gatekeeping Zoro sometimes just with this one card.
I think we were even talking about like I really like the card, the green killer blocker. I think that card's like just 2 for a 2K blocker that you can put a Dawn on to draw a card when it blocks. But that card's unplayable with Rob Lucci in the format. Like it's stone unplayable, but it is a very good card. But I actually don't think Rob Lucci is a prime target for ban or restrict. I think you want to, if you get rid of the supporting cast around him, like the Rebecca, I think that's a little bit better because Rob Lucci can still be a very playable card. It's just not as busted because you can't do it
Yeah.
every turn with Rebecca or Gecko Moria.
Exactly. Yeah. I also thought it was a little strange the way his card text was because it's so cheap. It's just honestly just play kill 2 cards, right? The placing 3 from your trash isn't actually a cost. If it was like put 3 CP cards to the bottom of the deck, then yeah, this card might suck really bad. Because then you have to play a CP deck. You'd still play it in CP decks, and it actually might be worth it to play Rob Lucci against decks like Law, Zorro, right? But
like even they just upped the amount of cards you had to put on bottom to like 5. Like that could have been a very legitimate. If you play Saki, you have like 15 cards in your trash at all times. Like,
I mean,
it would just stop you from doing it so early. At least you could do it early, but you'd have the penalties. You might have to shuffle a Hina to the bottom of your deck because now you can't abuse your Rebecca.
yeah,
Right? Like, just like a small change like that.
Yeah,
just would have nerfed the card, but it'd still be playable, but it would nerf it so it might just reduce.
And there is a card coming out in OPO7 that's different though. There's a Sabo card that kills 2 cards. It reminds me of Rob Lucci, but it's a very big card. Rob Lucci is only a 4 cost, which makes him really, really strong. You know, compared to like an 8 cost.
But that thing kills like a 5 and a 3. So like one Ice Age is gonna kill an 8 and a 5. Like it's
I guess it's just there for the big body, but like who cares, right? So yeah, Rob Lucci is better as currently a better card than the card coming out in the future, right? So that just speaks to its volume of how strong it is. So yeah. Another card people have a problem with is just Hound Blaze. I know we're just going through over basically Sakazuki cards. If we get rid of the supporting cast, then everything's fine, right? We don't have to remove half these cards. However, this card does provide a huge freaking problem, and all these 3K power cards, including even the yellow one, is just a very, very strong option. But removing cards and getting this is also just strong. I don't know. I don't know if restricting gets the answer. I don't know if banning gets the answer, but I do want to say this card is maybe a little too strong. So.
Yeah, Hound Blaze is probably more ban worthy than Rebecca. Because Hound Blaze allows you to very cheaply develop your board, say like with a Hina, and guarantee a hit by just Hound Blazing. I mean, or they have to give you cards.
And a theory I always like to bring up, right? If you play a blocker, that blocks an attack. But if you remove a character, that also just removes their attacker. So it's like better than blocking, right? It's like much better. So like using a Hound Blaze is better than blocking for sure, right?
Like Hound Blaze is just like Hound Blaze probably would be at the forefront after Gecko of cards that straight get banned. Because it only is going to get played in soccer, right? Because it's just there's no straight blue decks that's going to play Hound Blaze. Like Dofi is not going to play Hound Blaze.
Yeah, it's not because we can't reduce power levels, so you don't really get the effective use out of removing a 2K, right? So that's
right. Like this would be like my prime, like behind Gecko. This if you got rid of Gecko and Hound Blaze, I think soccer would actually still be good. It'd just be fair. That's the problem. It'd be fair.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe this could be like a one of, but if this was just gone too. I don't think people would miss it too much, to be honest, because all Sakazuki players know that this card's gross. If you see 4 of these, you're probably just going to win without even seeing even like a single Hina, Rebecca, whatever, right? So
yeah, especially in the mirrors, like it's absurd. Like the card's absurd.
Yeah. Finally, this is a spicy one we kind of brought up. They might preemptively ban this. Everyone's been asking for this. I don't really know if it's a big issue, but a lot of people have been asking for this. Just 10-drop Lin. I mean, Katakuri can probably play their deck without Linlins at all and still do very well. They're doing really well right now. So I don't know if that's actually fixed the issue, but it definitely limits the kind of decks you can bring because Katakuri has Charlotte Linlin in the deck.
Yeah, that's what it does. Like it really just keeps decks that could otherwise maybe flourish in the format. Like you just can't play slow decks while Charlotte Linlin exists. Like I know you could just dodge yellow, but for the most part, there are decks that might be good against Sokka. I mean, not like like Nami. I used to use Nami as an example. Like Nami could be okay against Sokka, but despite what every Nami player will tell you, you're gonna get fucking ranched by 10 drop mom. Like I don't care. Like if the category player knows how to play the matchup and they draw 2 moms, you're dead. Like you're not gonna win.
Yeah. Against even really slower matchups, like seeing 3 or 4 is like auto win, right? A Nell can't deal with this. I mean, probably like stuff like Blue Croc, yellow, any yellow purple deck. Most, I mean, I guess not all most purple decks, but like
even
Queen,
like Queen. Queen might be able to come back.
Yeah, I could come back from it, but then all of a sudden they drop 4. I'm like, okay, I can't deal with the 4th. So
no. I'm saying Queen might come back as a deck. Like if they get rid of Linland and like Gecko Moria, Queen could come back as a deck in general.
Yeah, I agree.
Like it might exist again.
I agree. But I don't really know what the direction they're going is. If they're just gonna have, I mean, what do these cards do? This removes. This is just too strong of a blocker, and then this is just too much value in a card, right?
Yeah, like because Gecko is more value to me than 10 drop mom, and it comes down a turn earlier. Like that. That's what. Yeah, that's how absurd.
You go back to back these. You just gross. You just can't lose, right? So
it's just so flexible, right? Because you get like we talked about, you get Kuzan brand new, but you could also get like Helmeppo and Lucci, right?
Yeah.
And then if you're on 9 Dawn, you can Ice Age Helmeppo Lucci, so you can kill things.
You
like
it just Rebecca brand new. It's literally the possibilities are endless with this card, but the thing is, it's still just sits there as a 9K beater. Yeah,
it's huge.
Yeah, 8K is actually hard to remove. 7K is easy to remove. 8K so hard to remove, even for Sakazuki.
The card's absurd. The card's absurd.
Yeah, but I guess that's essentially it. Did you have any other cards you wanted to talk about, or any other thoughts you want to think about, maybe for the future of One Piece and the theory of maybe this future ban list?
Other guys, I'm just saying, if you're gonna do this huge ban list, if they hit like 4 or 5 cards with restrictions or bans, maybe we can try unrestricting Kabaji and Boat, like just to see. Like I just want to see, right? Like, I want to see how good would be after there's power creep, right? Boat obviously would have been dominant when it got banned. With Ezo in the format, Boatbeard was gonna crush everything. But now maybe, I don't know, we'll find out. Let's try it. Let's give it a shot.
Yeah. What if we can combine all colors? They just unrestrict it. You could just combine all colors. Doesn't matter.
No.
Okay.
Can't do that.
The new format where we just win automatically, but where you're playing Nami, but you're milling 100 cards out of your deck with brand news. So that's
Nami. That would be interesting. Like, do you really think Nami would be oppressive with Kabaji?
Yes.
Like, I don't know. Would it really think that oppressive?
Yeah, there's actually a guy. I'll maybe like at him something to mill. He makes Nami videos, and he made what would Nami look like with Kabaji. It was absolutely busted. Like, he was playing a lot of sim games, like unrestricted. It was really strong.
Right, like I just haven't got to see it, right? Because we never played against it.
Yeah, well, know what Kabaji does? He just draws 2 cards, discards 1, right?
Yeah.
So you just use things like Hound Blaze, things that just pick it back up, and you just play like 3 or 4 of them, and like you will mill, because Nami already mills through pretty perfectly. Every game ends up being really tight, where like you have just enough to guard out and counter out. It's almost perfect. Now throw in like throwing away one more turn. It's really hard now, right? Because
Nami relies a lot on triggers more than people say it. Like,
yeah,
I think if Nami doesn't hit, I feel this way about Katakuri too. I think Nami has to hit at least 3.
Yeah,
Katakuri probably wants to hit 2, but can still be in a game with only 1. I think Nami has to hit at least 3, depending on the matchup. Yeah, that's obviously very matchup.
Ban triggers. I'm just kidding. They're leaning more into triggers, by the way. I think as far as games go. Yeah. But
I was looking at. I mean, we're gonna go over this, but I was looking at like the new cards that are yellow. Like every other card says trigger. Put this into play.
Great transition on our Patreon, we are going to have a video on a lot of decks we're working on for OP06 already. Make sure to check that out. We're going to make that probably just a tier 1 as far as that goes, because we do go over deck lists and ideas so far. And then coming about, 2 weeks beforehand, we'll have a lot of pre-release guides and also the full deck list when OP06 comes out. And then obviously we will be on top of when the ban list happens. So
yeah. Post-ban decks. That's very important because we'll be in it.
Yeah.
When the bans happen, we are going to be testing.
We're there pre-ban and post-ban. So be there, be square. But if you haven't already, make sure you guys like the video. Make sure to subscribe. And Will, do you have any messages for the people out there?
Yes. Brought to you by our sponsor, Kayfabe Cards.
See you in the next one. Ciao.
Wheel to Win Gaming.